Well, we've cleaned the lathe down, got out as many of the brass chips as I could get hold of, cleaned off this week's aluminium shavings. We've set the welded up flanged shaft up between centres, and we're just going to check the run out of it. Well, I lie, I've checked it already, but so we've got about half a mil, 20 thou run out, which I don't think it's too bad. So yeah, got to sharpen up some tools and get on with it now. I think the less said about the first pass the better. Anyway, the shaft's back from the welders again, and we're aiming on that shoulder to get a dimension now. Really do hope I don't cock it up again. So that's to size. That face is cleaned up. It ain't not 100%, but it's a flat plane. It's only got a bolt up to a face, and I've already taken off about 1 millimetre on thickness. Now I've got to clean that face up back. But as far as this end's concerned, I've got to establish the shoulder line here, cut that down. That stays on until I finish the other end, and then all this section will come off when I bore it out. Yeah, nerves are shot. The getting the weld off was took a few bits of cutting tool with it. All sorts of nasties held inside. Anyway, cup of tea time. Well, we've flipped the shaft around, cleaned up that face to establish from that dimension to that face, and then to that face. They're the mating ones. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not cleaned up, so I'm probably just going to introduce a step, clean that face up, but it doesn't need it really. So all of this is clearance. That's the face that runs up to the end of the bearing housing, or bearing, is it cast bearing? So the next job is to establish that dimension from there to the end of that shoulder, which I ain't really worked out how I'm going to do. How do you measure 7.855 inches on the lathe? I haven't got a long travel indicator, so you don't know. One for me to have a think about. Well, that is about all the dimensions confirmed. I've used my long calipers from that edge to establish that one, which gives me that distance, which sets the end play, and then that one sets the position for the gear for driving the carriage, and then this small boss on the end, all that will disappear when it's faced off and then drilled out. So the next job is to bring that down to dimension, and then once that's dimensioned, I've got to put a little tiny radius in there. I've left material for that, and then decide whether I'm going to clean that face up or not. Yeah, so far I've not cocked it up twice. So this is the first clean up pass, very light cut. We've got a 6 thou taper from, sorry, 3 thou taper from that end to that end, and this end's showing some distortion, so I'm just trying to bring it down lightly. Freshly sharpened tip. Using high speed steel on the basis of its light cut, nice and sharp. Hopefully I'll end up with a better finish. Smoky. probably one of the least exciting of video clips. This is bringing it down to basically top dimension on the tolerance. I'll check it end to end and then determine whether I'm going to lap it down with some abrasive. We'll take another thou off, a thou and a half. So we've reverse mounted the bearing onto the shaft because we've got to take that face in. Well, I've already done it, and I've created a oil groove around it, which I'll connect up to the feed line. So that face there would sit up against that face, but because the hole inside this has got about a thou taper one end to the other, it's enabled me to kind of make a jam fit chuck. Anyway, just got to break that edge now and we're done. It's then just a case of polishing up the shaft. Anyway, school run time, so I'm off. We took the shaft off, placed the gear in there on this stub shaft end, and whilst there was running clearance for the shaft within the bearing housing, I wasn't happy that it was, well, I couldn't measure anything, but it was there. And I've just took an extra thou off this external face, so that it's got that's the clearance for lateral movement. I didn't want it, it was under a thou, so it just seemed a little small. So it's not easy to see with the camera, but it's there now. So the next job is to whip it out of the lathe, fit the bearing housing onto the outside of the shaper, and then fit the shaft in and check that we've got clearance on the inside for that flange, which, if everything lines up, it should be about 1/8 of an inch, more than enough. That's the bearing housing fitted, the shaft fitted, that end bit gets machined away. That's the flange on the inside. It's not brilliant. Anyway, it's not touching anywhere. Which is a relief. Not that I doubted it for a moment. So this is going to be the setup for drilling it out. Got a bit of space behind the tailstock. I've just mounted it in the centre first to get the chuck trued up. That's a metric indicator. I've got, I don't know, less than half a thou, virtually no movement. I think that's possibly the best I've ever managed to get a 4-jaw chuck to run true. Very disappointed with the finish on that shaft. I'll do some thinking about that, but there's 2 thou, between 1 and 2 thou clearance along its length to the inside of the bearing, so I'm a bit loath to try and polish it out. There's probably only half a thou in it, but yeah, bloody annoying that, especially given, you know, I'd got it on the lowest feed and was only taking off 3 thou for the final cut. That's a thou and a half depth of cut, which is probably where the problem was. I should have pushed it a bit harder. It doesn't like light feeds anyway. Anyway, I mutter on. So the next job is to try and set the steady up so that when I take the centre out, that still runs true to that position and that position. I've asked umpteen YouTube channel creators, you know, what's the best method for setting up a fixed steady to make sure everything runs true, and with the exception, I think Joe Joe Pye is his nickname. Fantastic YouTube channel. He came back with take it easy, make sure it's not set in the way, and indicate again, which I'd pretty much worked out there was indication involved. It's just what's the best way of doing it. Am I to indicate that face and that face? I think that's what I'll try and do anyway. Yeah, so there we go. But you try and find a YouTube video of how to set up a fixed steady. Anyway, so what I've done is I've clonked it in position, clamped it down. I've got running clearance between the rear of these clamp nuts and that face, so it can't go any further that way unless I cut these nuts down. That boss has got to be machined off there, so that'll be the first job, and then basically go through with drills to the depth to just past midway, and that's the plan, to drill it through from each side. Drill and finish the first side. It's drilled, I need to check the drawing, but it's 2 inches of this end are to a given dimension which fit on the shaft, which I'll get, hang on, wherever I've put it. There we go. So that gear, rear end of that gear there, fits against that face when it's machined out. So that running fit there needs about 1.5 thou clearance. Then that length is machined to that bearing. Then it needs a clearance section running where my hand is, and then to the other end. So that's where it all fits. Yeah, good luck with that. I did have one suggestion from a chap, which was drill it all through to the bearings, to a bit bigger than the bearing size, and then put sleeves in the either end. Even it didn't even need to be phosphor bronze or just brass, because that shaft, centre shaft, should only be rotated when the stroke is adjusted. I'll probably, that's my plan B in the case I cock it up, is to sleeve it. So yeah, onwards and upwards with indicating the fixed steady. Well, we've turned the boss off the end, centre drilled it. It's within 1 thou there, and that surface is within 1.5 thou of true to the axes. There's a bit of heat building up there now, so having got it all set, I'm going to leave it for the night. Come back to it and next chance I get. Yeah, that's really bugging me.